potentially going to have to come back and address them at a later time. And anyone you want me to go over again, I'm happy to do that as well. So with regard to the things I just spoke about, when I look at your site, the first thing that pops out is your parking design. I think that's going to be inadequate. The main problem I see there is you have to back out into the town layout to get out of a parking space. And that's going to be very close to that shared use path. Parking spaces are supposed to be designed so you can get in and out of them within your property. So that's going to need to get looked at a little closer.
Can I excuse me, Steve, can I just interject here? I'm looking at the plan that they submitted, and I mean, I don't have a measurement, but there seems like there's a lot more distance between Meadow Road and the front of the building. I mean, it seems like it's got to be, 40 feet off of 50 feet. But I understand what you're saying about, the drawing on your plan that you did just doesn't appear to be anywhere near scale of what it should be. But I do understand what Steve is saying about backing. You can't back into Meadow Road. You can't back into any road, especially a commercial business. So just off the top, you need to get that measurement in there, and you'd also, I'd look at alternate means of parking, or work something out in the front where maybe if they're on an angle, you can work that in. I'm just wanted to mention that. Go ahead, Steve.
So Al, it won't take me long, but the plan I'm looking at, they've dimensioned those things that you're speaking about. So you might want to take a closer look at that plan. The plan that I'm looking at is, trying to find what its sheet number is in the lower right-hand corner. It's sheet number 3 of 5. And when you look at the parking spaces on that site plan, they do have a dimension of 28 feet and 2 inches. Looks like from the curb stop for the parking spaces to the existing edge of pavement line of Meadow Road. Would you say that's correct, Cedric? If you're looking at the same plan?
As representing McClure Engineering, I can say yes, that's true.
And then they show an 18-foot parking space. So if you double that, for a length of a vehicle, which could be the length of, let's say, like a Ford F-150, the 36 feet in total would go out beyond, go out into the road, existing pavement itself. But what I'm referring to is the property line. So, you are correct. The pavement is pretty far away from the building, and by this dimension, it's probably about 30-something feet, maybe 35 if I add something at 28. But what I'm referring to, too, is also have to look at the future Meadow Road and the location of that shared use path, which you should be able to get a plan like that from the current superintendent. I can certainly help make that happen if needed. But you can certainly get a PDF plan from him or the consultant that does that. So that's the first thing I asked that you look at is the parking. Also on a later plan, I saw what looked like maybe some proposed fence. I got to go back to where that plan showed it. So this is sheet 2 of 5. Are you proposing this 3-foot high rail and fence post kind of going around your corner there? That I do read as proposed only because I don't see it there. I don't know if it's there now. I don't see it on Street View, but I don't know how true.
I think what you're referring to is a fence that's there right now, like a split rail fence.
Okay. So my only comment to that would be is obviously anything you put up when I'm in your property line, but I think that goes saying. But you'd be surprised how many people just put fences up. When you're looking at your site plan, could you clarify a few things? You show that buried sewer manhole, and I'm not asking you to go out of your way for investigating, but I know you're also working with the sewer department. And when I look and I see the buried sewer manhole out towards the corner of or towards that corner as you get close to the old Main Street, and then I see your proposed sewer, and then I see your sewer service, it doesn't look like they're one and the same. So I'm wondering if there's like a sewer easement that goes down through there, because if you're talking about future parking and stuff, you would want to, you know, at least accommodate that or allow for that to be raised to the surface in the future. And then also there is a power easement on that side of the property that I think would be desirable to show on your site plan.
It is on the site plan.
It is? Oh, okay. It's hard.
Speaking from floor.
I'm used to like having a whole bunch of sheets and not trying to scroll through PDFs to see stuff. Anyway, said the old guy. It is on the site plan. I see it. Yeah, it's on the plan that shows the parking.
Yes. To address the buried sewer manhole, that was something that McClure and Helgerson excavating was able to find with the Spencer Sewer Department. There is a sewer easement coming from the old Knights of Columbus building that goes through 8 Meadow Road, and currently 8 Meadow Road is tied into that easement with their own lateral.
Is it at all possible for you to show that easement? Do you have enough information to show that now or next iteration?
Yeah, we could show it. We could show it.
So those are the other thing I want to discuss with you, Cedric, is so the town of Spencer has a complete streets policy. Are you familiar with complete streets and what that means?
I am not. I'm fairly new to this area.
In general, it's referring to connectivity for pedestrian and bicyclists and so forth. And it comes from a plan that the town adopted many years ago where they wanted to connect sidewalks, right, to different areas and connect sidewalks where there's sidewalk gaps. And that's one of the reasons why we're realizing this shared use path in front of your facility, which is a really nice thing. So it's going to, if you want to know more about what that connects and what that might bring to your business in the future, I'm happy to talk to you about that at any time, what it connects through Spencer with other projects. But the complete streets and relative to your property, the intent of that would be, let's say like a situation where this was a sidewalk gap, we might ask the project to consider filling in that sidewalk gap. What I'm asking of you on this project is, have you considered the possibility of maybe potential bicycle customers? And that might allow a little bit, customers without having to have parking. And with that consideration, would you consider the possibility of a requirement or a condition in your certificate that within say like a year of that shared use path being fully built and open, that you consider or make provisions for a bike rack somewhere on your property?
Yeah, sure. We have those at our other locations, and we were used to getting bikes in Sturbridge and snowmobiles and a lot of other things. That's no problem at all. Is this proposed bike path, so it's on the south side of Meadow Lane or the north side?
It's your side. Meadow Road runs north to south.
Side.
I call it the east side.
Okay.
Or,
so hypothetically, so a bike goes down this path, they don't have to go on a sidewalk for us, but if they were to go to Charlie's for lunch, they would have, you guys were going to have like a crosswalk or a sidewalk up there?
I can't tell you where crosswalks are going to be, but yeah, they would have to cross to get over to Charlie's from the shared use path.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a sense of the path where it's going to sort of abut the cemetery.
Yes, it'll stay on that easterly or south side, as you refer to it, for the entire length of Meadow Road, and not far from where it hits at Route 9. It's probably 1 mile to the start of our rail trail as you go down South Spencer Road. So that's kind of like a little bit of the connectivity of it, if that helps you.
No, absolutely. Yeah, again, we're we would embrace cyclists and pedestrians, and it just to go back a little bit, we want to have a retail presence in Spencer because we believe in communities like this, and we want to be part of an area that's growing, and we see the successes of Charlie's and Black and White. I mean, I live in Brimfield, and I go out to eat a few of these places on occasion, once a month, and again, but this is our focus here is manufacturing and producing the beer for our other locations, as well as expanding on our on premise or selling cans. So, we're going to stick with the 16 occupancy. And back when I was saying we wanted to add a few more parking spaces, we're not envisioning doubling our occupancy, or we just there's no space for that here. So our focus is mainly manufacturing, but we want to have a component where people from Spencer, or they leave a hard day's work here at National Grid and they just want to grab a couple cans to enjoy for the weekend. We want them to be able to pull in and say hi, grab a couple of cans, maybe have one pint and talk to the head brewer and move on. We don't anticipate, and it was never mentioned in any social media or emails that I forget her name, I'm sorry, mentioned there earlier in this meeting. We communicated what we communicated on social media to let people know where we're planning to brew beer and hopefully have a very small retail component.
Understood. I can only hope that some of my words are encouraging to let you know that retail home component will probably do pretty well. And you have those other options, including bicyclists, the possibility of tables in that green space over there. On the other side of that roadway, that old Main Street is actually going to get realigned, so it's not going to be a big double island left and right turn. It's going to be just a regular perpendicular intersection. And the other side of it's going to be, I'll say, a little respite area, a couple of benches and stuff outside of the cemetery, nothing too elaborate. But then that the fairgrounds is right down the road and shared use path is connecting you to that. And then just beyond that is the Smalls Farm open space path, and the shared use path connects to that. And the town will also do sidewalks on Pleasant and Smithville, so they'll connect back to downtown. So you have a good connected site. And like you said, you're limited parking and other ways for expansion, but certainly your branding opportunities are there.
Yeah, no, that's very good news. I did not hear about this path, and it's great news for us. And we have some running clubs. We're tentatively planning a 5K if everything goes well, that supports nonprofits, Second Chance, and if there's access to a rail trail, that's great for our running club, and that's great for all the things you're talking about. So we fully embrace that, and we'll be supportive, whether it's bike racks or partnerships with the other town organizations. That's been sort of our track record over the last 15 years of being in the business, either at our locations further east or up in Sturbridge. So, that's what we want to bring to Spencer, in our own little way.
Good luck to you and all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen, I just want to just be clear on the reconstruction of Meadow Road. Do you know when that's slated to take place?
You think I'd have it memorized just as many times as I asked the question. I believe it's programmed for the fiscal federal year of 2020. You know what? Why don't you just give me 1 minute and I will tell you exactly what year it's programmed for. How's that? The reconstruction of Meadow Road is programmed for advertising in the fiscal federal year of 2023, which means 2023 begins September 2023. So I would expect it to begin construction in the summer of 2024. And not far from that same time frame, Route 9 is also going to be completely reconstructed from Water Street all the way into East Brookfield. The entire Spencer section will have sidewalks on both sides, and Route 9 will have a bike path accommodation on both sides. So within the next 5 years, both of those projects will be realized.
Okay, and Steve, just to be clear, so the sidewalk is going to be on Meadow Road is going to be on their side of the road, correct?
Correct, and it's a 10-foot wide shared use path, 2-directional.
Okay, and they're going to add there's going to also be a bike path on it?
Shared use path is bike and ped. It's both.
So it sounds like they'll be taking some property to create this to happen, correct?
No, the layout is pretty wide. It's going to be accomplished within the layout, but it just means that everything gets a lot closer to their property line. Right now, like their drawing shows, I think they show maybe 20 feet-ish of distance from the existing pavement edge. So once you widen Meadow Road, then there's a little space for the proposed bike path. It's not quite to their property line, but it certainly is getting closer. Graphically, I'd say the edge of the shared use path looks like it's less than the width of the path from your property line. So I'm going to say it's like 6 or 7 or 8 feet.
If I could just, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
We would have definitely, with McClure Engineering, adapted that parking plan based on information. If we knew that bike path, this 2023 project. I mean, obviously, as we all know, these plans take time and money and resources for small little businesses like us. We would have definitely adapted it to fit. We have plenty of space on the left side of the building, not the easement side. The left side, so I guess we'd say that the east side of the building to accommodate the 8 parking spots. So I just wanted to sort of say that for the record. We didn't know that was part of the picture, and we just figured the front.
There is no way you could have known. We just received 25% plan, so I don't doubt that first.
All right, sure.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that so you don't go ahead with some plans and then in 2 years, they redesign the road and your plan's outdated. So it's good that we got this information out to you. So I guess we'd be looking for some kind of a revised plan from you. I'm just looking at the building and you're showing 3 exits.
Correct.
Okay. The other thing you'll have to contemplate is where you want to put your sign. You'd probably want to show on the plan where the vehicles will enter and where they will exit. And you don't want to put your sign on in between the exits. Or if you do, you want it so there's clear vision as to cars pulling out can see in both directions what's oncoming traffic. So you'd probably want to think about what kind of signage you want and where you want to put it.
We have discussed it, and we'll note all of that for sure.
Okay, and it would probably be a good thing to put it on a plan I take it you're going to come in front of us with some kind of revised parking?
If that's what's required,
Well,
we can be flexible.
Okay, I mean, I'm looking at the plan I'm looking at. It says 12 feet between rows. Now that's a car pulling out on a 45-degree angle like that has 12 feet behind it. I don't know what is the standard for that, but it would seem like it's more than 12 feet. I could be wrong. Stephen, do you know what that is?
I would never quote that off of memory. I would look it up to kind of be sure. There's all different kind of details. It matters if it's two directional, what angle it's at. And I don't remember any basic number.
Okay. It just seems like 12 feet is kind of tight. So you know, I mean, I'm just trying to help you out here with your parking layout. I think that's something that we would have to look at, but going forward.
Is this the parking plan that was submitted with the original application?
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm looking at. Apparently there's something else out there that I don't have, or sure sounds that way.
Yeah, so I think Todd posted McClure's plans on the website separately from the application.
I was able to forward the most recent version of the drafts just here during this meeting, so he would have access to them.
Okay, is there any other comments from the board at this time?
I have one additional question. Looking at the plans, I see in the memo box that you have the lighting, but I can't find the lighting on the plan. Your outdoor lighting.
The 4 lights are on the building. There's 4 of them.
Oh, I see them now. Thank you.
Page 4.
The minute you said that, I'm like, okay, I see the symbol now. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay, if there's no further question from the board, we'll open it up to the public. Please state your name and where you live, the street, and whoever's on the line, go ahead and speak.
Through the chair, this is Tony Pepe, One Lake Avenue in Spencer. I mean, I come on your meetings every once in a while where there's some new development that I think is exciting, and I think this is just as exciting as anything else going on in town. At least from my opinion, it's a new industry coming to town, and if a town's not growing, it's dying. So I find this to be an incredibly important project. Cedric is a good neighbor, a good citizen out in Sturbridge, and the reason why his Facebook was so busy is that he created a very large community out there, and they wanted to know where he was going. So Cedric is an above the board guy, and so is mentioned Tom Laux as well, who's on the call. I think this is a very important project, and I would just beg that our boards help these businesses in what they have to do. And I think they'll be a great addition to the town. I think they'll be good citizens, and there's already loose talk of how they can get involved. So best of luck, Cedric, and I hope it goes smoothly. Thank you.
Okay, your point's well taken, and I know the board's looking at this, and we're just trying to get it right. That's all. Any other questions? Any other comments from the public? I guess nobody else has anything to say on this from the public. So I think probably the best thing to do at this point would be to continue to a later date, and if you can provide us some of the information that was requested. Is that possible for you?
I was hoping I could propose something. I don't know if this is the right venue, if I just need to meet with Todd, but I'm willing to, if you guys, I don't know if you can agree in this meeting, in this forum, that we do get you an updated parking plan or whatever you decide is required based on this meeting on the retail component. But is it possible to separate the, can we brew beer? Can we manufacture beer? And in essence, hold off on any retail, which it sounds like it's really just the parking issue here. Because as you know, based on these plans, it might take a while to come up with a parking plan based on our consultant and us making sure we got everything covered and make sure we do everything right, which is what we want to do. We want to be 100% following, which is what our original communication was last year with the past town planner. And that's why we went this far. It's because we had a very small sort of footprint per se as a business. We weren't expanding buildings. We weren't knocking buildings down. And, we were communicated, if we fulfill these certain basic requirements and do the right thing, everything should be good. And that's sort of the process we've been taking. So on that note, is there any way we can discuss this right now? If, we can move forward with brewing while we, figure out this parking plan, and now with this new bike path, obviously it might take some time. Maybe we just need to get rid of the parking spots out front based on this new development of the bike path or the shared pathway project. If that makes any sense to you all, so we can, at least brew some beer, which, we're hoping there's only a few minor projects left. One's being the town sewer and another being just some internal plumbing. We're hoping to brew beer by, some point in April, but we're willing to hold off on the retail to make sure it's right per your requirements. Does that make sense?
Speaking for myself, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I think most of the things we're looking for are more retail oriented. The questions regarding the petition, so I wouldn't have a problem with that. And I'll deflect to the other members if they want to comment on what you just asked the board. Stephen?
Steve, yeah, I don't have a problem with the request. Yeah, just make it clear to me how we make it happen, and ensure that the other things still come back to get readdressed as needed. Just as long as that's all made clear to me, I don't have an issue with that.
Elise?
I don't have any issues with that.
Okay. I believe the board can condition the approval for the brewery to brew beer and to come forward with plans in the future for the retail side of it, showing a parking plan, where your signage is going to be, and probably some more measurements showing the side setbacks and the potential future parking if need be, and anything else that the board would, the other members would like to add to that. Stephen?
Actually where I'm at right now is I have a hard time going all the way through with voting for any particular approval and conditions. What I'd like to understand, and I'm fine with, trying to resolve it this evening, and I apologize for making it last longer than simplifying, but I just want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, with regard to our ability to authorize these things. So we have we have something before us that talks about indoor outdoor operations, but do we then have the authority to just right now just approve it as a, as a manufacturing facility without any retail use? Is that what we're doing? And is that is something that we can do through this process? Is that what you're saying to me?
Let me just ask the petitioner, in the brewing process minus the retail, how many people would be there on any given day?
A max 2 people. Or a one-person operation, and a second person shows up to assist once in a while.
Okay. And as far as trucks pulling in and out of the building, could you just elaborate on that as far as what size trucks come in? Right.
We have grain deliveries and, like regular parts deliveries, UPS, etc. Once, twice a week.
So, do you have like a steak body truck come in and pull up, or is it a much smaller vehicle?
The current layout of this facility, which is, I think it's been since they built it 20 years ago, where they have 2 paved side driveways where a truck can back up, and then there's 2, which is on the plan, 2 loading garage bay doors on each end. So it's far away from Meadow Road.
Okay, well, I wouldn't have a problem going forward. The board might need a little bit more time to write up what we need. If the other members want to reflect on that, go right ahead. Or if you think we need to push this off to the next meeting, that's fine too. Just please, let me know your feelings on this.
This is Elise. I'm just reviewing the application, and I think the best thing to do, I don't know the legal aspects of it, but by reading the application is we would need to continue this because it states the brewery and the tap room. That's my opinion.
Through the chair, if I may, this is Chris McClure, McClure Engineering.
Go ahead.
And I think that I heard Steve a little bit earlier saying that obviously we'd have to make some accommodations once that shared streets program was initiated in town, but that could be conditioned in the approval for this retail. But based upon what we're showing now and the existing conditions at the site, couldn't the board approve this parking plan, these 8 spots along this road, and then they would have to be moved if, in fact, they did not jive with the requirements of the shared streets program? And if that was the case, we could get this approval done tonight and condition that parking plan to be designed and worked through at a later date. We're still looking at 3 years out if we're talking about fiscal 2023.
Okay. Well, the more I'm looking at it, I think probably the best thing to do would be to if you want to go forward with the brewery end of it.
Can I interrupt again? I'm just looking at the application, and to Alice's point, our application for the special permit, it's just the one line which was signed, and I think you guys received it. It just says applying to operate a microbrewery. That was our main objective, and it was on the application. Again, right, I agree completely with our consultant Chris. If there's any way possible that we can, just find a way to correct that after the fact, but to backtrack, if we can just focus on the brewing, it seems like our paperwork communicates that.
Well, it does on the first page, but then you went and you attached on February 1st, 2021, that you wanted to include the retail operation. So on the first page, you only wrote the brewery, but then you wrote a detailed letter and signed it.
Right. The narrative was sort of twofold, and you can, if you want to, you can say it right now. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize, but it was twofold. It was to, make beer and then have a retail component if possible. If we pass all the, I think I even stated in the narrative, if we pass all the requirements, we're going to pursue retail. Obviously right now we gotta fix this shared path parking situation, but I think the narrative sort of shares two stories there. If I don't have it in front of me, I apologize.
Yeah, well, the only problem is there's two stories in one plan. I think the best thing to do for everybody involved would be just to show parking for the brewery, and we could schedule you for the next hearing, and you could bring that information in, and then we can do it for that, and then later on you can go through whatever you have to do for parking to show for the retail, and then we can handle that at that point. But at least if we can do it this way, everything on the plan will apply just to the brewery end of it. I know what you're saying, but just trying to combine them can be a problem going forward. So that would be my suggestion. And either the other members have any suggestions, I'm willing to listen to that.
I don't have a problem with that approach either, if that what we think is necessary to get them there sooner. I will make clear my comment on the parking. I think the parking design is inadequate for today. Would never be happy with parking that requires backing out into the town layout. Like I said, parking should, and in and out of parking should be occurring on the site. Being a roadway engineer, I've seen this too many times. So then all of a sudden I go build a roadway and I make a site out of compliance because the roadway and the sidewalk's right there and they got to back out into the sidewalk. So yeah, no, I would not find this parking acceptable, just as an example, and a couple of reasons why.
Okay, so can you show us a parking plan that doesn't have cars backing out onto Meadow Road? You'd only need, 5 or 6 spaces for the number of employees there. If you can do that for our next meeting, and we can take it up at that point, and then we'll have everything in order as far as the brewing going forward.
When is the next meeting?
Monica, when would the next meeting be?
To the chair.
Yes.
Thank you. I just did get we all got emails from Monica regarding the scheduling of the next meeting. Bearing in mind that we do have a member on vacation from the 5th to the 18th, Monica is doing some research to reschedule us for May as soon as possible.
Did
I hear May?
To the chair, it's Monica. The rescheduled meeting is Monday, April 19th.
Okay. And that works for everybody, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to continue the hearing to April 19th for the brewery. End of the petition. Can the chair's looking for a motion to continue?
This is Stephen Tower. I make a motion to continue.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'll make it unanimous. The motion's carried. Roll call. Elise?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. So are you clear with what you need to bring to the board at that meeting?
Sounds like
Basically,
a new parking plan.
just basically taking the parking out of the front and putting it someplace else to accommodate the brewery end of it. And whatever, is there anything else members would like to see from him?
Well, the parking could be angled or some other design potentially. That, in my mind, doesn't necessarily have to be completely out of the front. I just want to make sure that they're all set to make sure that they can make it whatever we're going to approve. We're put in a position where we can approve it. Will we need any separate documentation or like an amended request or anything like that? Or maybe as a suggestion that we ask the applicant to write it as a, just briefly, like say a 2-part request, and this plan is for part 1, and I think that we all know what part 1 and part 2 are. That way, it's out there knowing what we're approving this next meeting and what, still has to come back for when the applicant is ready to come forward with that other, other aspect of the site plan.
I know where you're going with this, Steve, but it's kind of a whole new operation. What I'm asking for is the parking end of it to get the brewery operation going. But that all changes when they go retail. I mean, they're going to have to show, the locations for the retail. You're also should show where the sign is going to be going for the next hearing. And that's about all I can. I just think it'd be difficult to try and extend one into the other under one permit. And then
I'm not trying to do that. What I'm suggesting through the chair, if I may, is that he make it clear that we're only approving one part of it. Or otherwise we got to figure out how to make it clear what we're doing. I'm not trying to approve phase 2. We can't approve phase 2 till we see the plan and the parking plan and all of that stuff. It would be 2 separate approvals.
okay. Then but if we accept this plan, I mean, the parking is on there. So I think we have to differentiate the two. I know what you're saying. It's just, you're saying one thing, but you're still presenting a plan.
All right. If I may, through the chair, can I clarify? So I'm completely on board with what you said to begin with, Al, with regard to them generating a plan for employees only and showing whatever they need just to open it up as a manufacturing facility. I think that that's what they need to do. They need to generate the plan that shows that. What I'm talking about is the backup written documentation that goes with that. If he submits, and I'm just saying a suggestion, whether he calls it amended request with XYZ date that says, what we're submitting now is a phase 1 approval for manufacturing operations, a site plan and parking for that use only, and that in the future we will come back to the ZBA for phase 2 that we may consist of this or adjust it at that future time as deemed necessary. Maybe that and incorporate complete streets or whatever.
Okay, if you want to make a condition that we could vote on it tonight, and that the condition would be that the petitioner would come forth with a parking plan showing where the parking would be for the brewery personnel. We could certainly do that. How do the members feel about that?
I'm okay with that too. I think the applicant's probably okay with that. He can move forward. So, town tell me how that would work. So that's a new approach. I'm okay with that one too.
I am
Okay.
too.
Okay, very good. If there's no further discussion, the chair will a motion to close the hearing.
Yeah. What am I closing the hearing on, Al? Tell me how everything happens. What am I?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I'm closing the hearing. Oh, I thought we were continuing it.
Well, it was under my impression that you wanted to allow it to go through tonight with the condition that the petitioner will send us a parking plan other than what's in front of the building for the employees that are working there. And if we were to do that, we could condition it tonight and go forward. And then he could come back at a later date for the retail end of it.
Well, I never said those words.
No, I thought we were continuing it with the parking for the employees continued for the April meeting.
Okay, if that's the board's wishes, then the chair will entertain a motion to continue.
I think the building's owner wants to speak.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Hi, Tom Lokes. I live at 175 Harrington Street in East Brookfield. I'm the current owner here at 8 Meadow Road. Prior to us moving out in September, this was used as a warehouse in the back and also an office in the front. There were 2 employees. We parked not perpendicular to the building. We parked parallel to the building, either out front or on either side, which is currently paved. So current use was more than adequate for 2 vehicles and deliveries when we had machines being delivered or leaving. I just wanted to bring that up, that current use up until September was 2 employees here. And I think it's adequate to allow the brewery personnel to be present. Thank you.
I agree with you. The only problem that's coming up is the parking plan. I think that's the big issue with the members.
Right, we're discussing the issue would be the parking plan for retail, which we definitely understand, given the work that's proposed, that we will have to adjust that either to either side of the building or some type of manipulation out front. However, current use would allow brewery personnel to be present in the short term.
Okay, well, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may on discussion, so I don't know where we are now. I understand the discussion on what you could park there today and what was there and used before, and I have no problem with those uses. I'm trying to figure out, I have an application before me that doesn't say any of those things. I have an application that says they want a microbrewery and they want to do internal sales. And it has a plan that has a certain amount of parking. So what are we doing? Is this board creating a whole new application that we're then having to put into words? And then are we also creating the words that says that this application is only good until when? And what mechanism do they come back on? What is it that you're asking me to make a motion for? Am I mapping out the next 2 years of this facility? Am I creating the new permit? Am I defining the new plan? Please help me how to get there.
You can condition what they're asking for, just the brewery. But I just think you should make it clear that parking in the front, should not exist on that plan. I know there's plenty of parking. That's not an issue. I'm just trying to separate it as best as possible. And whatever, if you want to make a motion, go right ahead. I'm all ears.
So if you give me a couple of minutes, I'll come back with you with something that I'll see if we can work with. All right,
Take
give me a
your
couple-
time.
If I can interrupt again, we just want to go through the process the right way, and, the selectmen granted us the
Chair?
pouring license. It's going through the process. Again, if there's any way, that you guys can just make a condition that we're gonna update the parking plan. It seems like the parking is the big one. But as the owner stated, I'm sorry, Todd, I'll let you speak.
Well, I'm sorry, Cedric. I didn't mean. I do believe we already made the vote to continue. Did we not?
We did.
So that is binding.
You can always
Right.
rescind a motion.
That is true too.
We didn't roll call it either, I don't believe. So maybe we do both.
We did roll call the continuance.
Did we? Thank you.
Yes.
I think what's getting confusing is I don't think the applicant nor myself understand. I know we continued it, but after all that talk, I don't know if they're aware of what we're asking for at this point on the continuance. I may be wrong.
The only question that I had was the parking in the front and voting on this petition with that showing. So that needs to be taken out of there. And I'm willing to, as a member of the board, I'm willing to go with whatever you want. I know there's plenty of parking. That's not a problem. I just want to get rid of that.
Let me ask, through the chair, Elise a question. Elise, if I can frame something that works based on all of this stuff we've heard this evening, that allows just the manufacturing loose, is it something you would at least consider, or do you think we should stick with the continuance?
I'm torn because I read the application and it's two-part. And we usually go by what's submitted.
And that's where I was at, and that's why we were trying to deal with the continuance and trying to explain to them what we were looking for from the continuance. And then I don't know how we got turned back.
Right. So I think if we can, in my opinion, is we have the application that was submitted. It states that it's a microbrewery that's going to be at 8 Meadow Road. It states that it would like retail hours. If we could get all that done at the next continuance, I think that would be the way to go, as the way that the application was submitted.
If I can say another thing, again, I don't think it was on paper, but throughout the last at least year, the communication I've had with the planning department, with selectmen, with even the town manager's office recently, I've always stated that, we just want to go through the proper steps. We fully acknowledge that with COVID and transition, internal, changes, that a lot of stuff got lost in translation, or, it was very difficult to keep everybody on the same path, so to speak. And my point is, if I would have definitely just filled out 2 of these, I've always communicated to the town that, it's 2 phases here. We're willing to hold off on retail for years. I mean, I've made that comment. If retail has to wait 2 years so we do the right thing, then we'll wait 2 years. Our priority moving here was to make beer. And if we were informed that maybe the best path would be to write 2 applications, one for the 16 occupancy and one for making beer. You know, we love paperwork. We would have done that. And I know what you guys are saying, there's a protocol and there's a process, right? And you're looking at an application and it's twofold, but, you know, I just want to sort of state our case that, you know, with information, I know there's been a lot of transition with you guys internally, you know, if we were informed, let's just do 2 applications. That's probably the best direction, and the board here in front of me would like that. And, you know, we have this new bike path and, you know, we would have accommodated all that. And I just wanted to state that for the record. I know sometimes it gets confusing with, especially this past year, but I just wanted to let you know, we always communicated with the town that it's twofold here. And we want to just do what it takes to do the right thing. And, you know, we're willing to sacrifice on one, mainly being the retail, so we can focus on beer, which is why we came to this.
Okay, well,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Gary Woodbury, 219 Charlton Road. If I could add my 2 cents, maybe it might help. I think you guys are on the right path by continuing. However, I do know that they supply their restaurants with the beer. Is this not something that the building inspector could actually make a decision whether they're allowed to operate and take it out of your hands and you know, at least get them operational? And then you guys look at the because to me it seems like we got to do a different site plan than what they have before you tonight. And it's just a suggestion. I don't know if the building inspector can make that decision. Todd may be able to shed some light on it, but
He cannot. It requires both of them. Being able to operate out of that site is the permit that's being here today. Being able to sign off on everything building wise to be functional and then be in operation, that's an entire function entirely, and it must operate independently.
It's the special permit is because it's in commercial, and that's pretty much what we have to meet. I think we're trying to make this as simple as we can. However, the plans say one thing, and we're trying to do the other, and it is a bit complicated just to get it right. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all, being that we're, you know, meeting remotely.
Mr. Chair, this is Tony Pepe, also Board of Selectmen. It would be possible, I know that, you know, the brewing is their lifeline. Is there a chance that we could accommodate them and have an earlier meeting than a month from now? Set up a special meeting like we do all the time for the Board of Selectmen, have a special meeting in 2 weeks or whenever, so we can get these guys up and running?
That would be possible if the other 2 members can make it. Is Monica on the line?
Mr. Chairman, can I hold off a request to Monica for a minute and just add something?
Yes.
I have an idea. All right, so and just to see if we would consider this. So my idea is this: that we can we do something along the lines of making a motion that we approve for the use of the facility for brewing manufacturing only, you know, provided that they get all the necessary building and occupancy permits they need for that brewery use only. And that be contingent upon that by our next, meaning that's effective now, and also contingent upon by our next meeting that they come forward with a, I'll say a 2-phase plan, you know, come forward with this 2 permit approach aspect and describe to us what those 2 phases are. And as part of that, come forward with the, you know, the site plan for the phase 1 and the parking, you know, and until that new site plan or parking plan is approved, that they just park the way that the site currently has parking laid out. Is that something that we could consider and approve for this evening?
I don't have a problem with that. Elise? Hello?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, Steve, would you be ready to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask one more question? I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Gary again.
Yes, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just want to ask Cedric, as far as this, excuse me, the sewer in the pH meter, that's done, right?
We're working on the solution for tying into the sewer. That's in the final stages. Our consultant who's here can elaborate if you want to learn more.
I just want to make sure, but you have a holding tank anyways, right?
We do not have a holding tank outside. There's no holding tank outside.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I just want to ask the petitioner, do you have an idea when the sewer commissioners will complete their plan for you, or do you know when that's going to happen?
We're very close.
Okay, and I'm only saying that because the motion would be conditioned on that approval, and we don't have anything to say about that. That would be an automatic. So even if
We're just going to the final equipment selection, so we're very close.
even if we would approve it tonight, you'd still have to wait for that approval to come.
Well, the sewer, sorry to interrupt. I'm pretty sure the sewer voted on that a month ago, and all they have to vote on now is sewer rate. That's all they're trying to determine is rate, because they couldn't come to a solution last month.
Okay. And Todd, did we get any information from them?
No, I have not received anything from the sewer.
Okay, so that's basically a go. If we don't hear from them, that's the way the bylaw reads. So now, where were we? So we need a motion to close discussion. Steve, did you make a motion? Are you ready?
I believe I need to make a motion to rescind our earlier continuance of this matter.
That's correct, Stephen.
So that is the motion that I make at this time.
Okay, I'll accept the amendment. Elise?
I second that.
Okay, the motion's carried. Now, the chair will wait a motion on the petition.
Roll call.
No. Yes, roll call. Elise?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. A motion on the petition?
Stephen Tyler, I make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second that.
And the motion's carried. Chair will wait a motion on the petition.
Stephen Tyler, I make a motion that the petition be approved for the following limited conditions: to allow for the use for the brewery manufacturing only. That requires getting all necessary building and occupancy permits for the manufacturing use, and also includes necessary water and sewer connections and approvals. Again, that the existing use is for manufacturing only, and that the parking may only use existing parking layout on site, and that this approval is also contingent upon that the applicant come forward at our next available meeting with a amended request for a two-phase project including the manufacturing facility and any site or parking changes proposed with that. And somewhat of a description of the phase 2 approval, and maybe some suggestion on timeline that we might, just consider and talk about that next meeting. But I'll end with that.
Okay, and that next meeting date would be, Todd, what would the date be?
April
Please.
19th.
Yeah, April 19th.
April 19th, okay. Did Chair wait a second on that motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, I'll make it unanimous. Roll call. Elise?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Okay,
I had
so,
heard. I'm just a simple engineer, not a lawyer.
Okay, so there's a 20-day appeal period on the petition, and you'll be notified by the secretary. And a motion to adjourn this hearing, this meeting?
We still have minutes to do.
Yes, I realize that.
Thank you guys for your patience with us, and we'll see you on the 19th.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Take care.
Thank you, Cedric. Good luck moving forward. Look forward to seeing you do great.
Thanks again.
Hopefully the next meeting will be in person. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Okay, now as far as the minutes are concerned, has everybody read the minutes?
Yeah.
February 9th?
I've read
Is there any amendments to those minutes?
I have no comments.
I don't hear any amendments. So the chair will wait a motion to accept the minutes for February 9th.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of February 9th.
I second.
Okay, I'll make it unanimous. Roll call. Elise?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Chance is yes. Is there any other business that we have, Todd?
Not this time. I can give a quick apprised version or reprised version of my planner's report if you like, if you'll indulge me a moment.
Oh, excuse me. Don't we have minutes from January 12th or something to approve too?
Yeah, yes, Elise. I was just going to say that.
Thank you. Motion to accept the meetings. I mean, the minutes from January 11th.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from January.
I second.
I'll make it unanimous. Roll call. Elise?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
To the planner's report.
Yes. If I could, sure. I would just like to update the members on the decision for the comprehensive permit that we worked on just recently. I'm working with DHCD on getting that draft decision. I'll be by Eichmann, and then that will also be reviewed by the applicant's counsel to see if they have any way in. And then on top of that, after all that's done, will be checked by Eichmann again. Then it should be ready for your review, ideally next month.
Is there anything else?
Not as such. The other item I had was just making sure we have the scheduling set for April, and as well as keeping in scheduling for May, knowing that we have some staff, some members out on vacation. But those have been addressed, so the only thing that remained was the comprehensive permit.
Okay. Any comments from the board? If there's no further comments, we're